trying to have a conversation with you. I'm trying to have a conversation with you. Are you listening? Do you hear me? 'Cause I'm trying to have a conversation with you.
So we're back. Hello, and welcome to I'm Trying to Have a Conversation with You, a podcast with two sisters who never seem to be done talking. I'm Monique, and that's.
Kasha.
So, how was your day today? That good?
Draining, tiring, exhausting, but I'm making it. How is yours?
It was good. Yeah, it was good. I felt good at the end of the day. I didn't have a headache. It was a good time. I can't complain.
I hate that that's a win. As a woman, you're like, I didn't end the day with a headache. I guess I won.
Well, I say that because I had been substitute teaching in a kindergarten class, and I just want to shout out all the kindergarten teachers. Can I just say that if you have a kindergarten child, please buy your kindergarten teacher all the presents. I regret now that I did not buy the kindergarten teacher that taught my son anything her heart desired, because having 21 kindergartners in a room all together, I almost didn't make it. I almost didn't make it. It was wild, and I would end every day with a headache. And I'm not a person who has headaches a lot, so to end every day with a headache because I spent the whole day going, "What are you doing? Take your friend's shoe out of your mouth. Why are you licking that? Don't put that. What are you doing? Why would you think that was okay? Oh my goodness. Okay, guys, we're waterfall. Shh, going right back to talk. I mean, it was so. And I just want to also shout out, my sister is a pre-K teacher, which to me has to be wilder than being a K teacher because you're getting them before they come to kindergarten. I just want to say, I've always respected what you did, but I didn't fully understand it. Now it's like, I'll come and volunteer and help you, but you could not pay me $1 bajillion to be a pre-K teacher every day. I couldn't do it. I'm
I
not
feel
built for that
totally
life.
different.
But I can go be a cop and
love
be
it.
shot at. Yes, put me in, coach.
You crazy.
Wild.
That's how you know, like, there's different people in the world who have different life paths, and it's so purposeful, because for me, I couldn't see it any other way. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm right where I need to be every single day, even the craziness. Like, I love the craziness, actually, but
I know you do.
I thrive in it.
You know what we need to do? We need to do an episode of Schoolhouse Stories. We'll withhold the names to protect the guilty, but just do an episode of Schoolhouse Stories, because the stuff that happens at schools is wild, especially with little kids.
Yeah.
Especially.
They're great. I mean, I honestly, I think I can't be in a chaotic classroom. I'm not built for that, because
Wait, you said you can't be in a chaotic classroom? That's what pre-K is. Sorry.
That is not true. Girl, that is not true. Because I work so hard in the front end of the year that August is boot camp. You know what I'm saying? For all of us. We all learning. It ain't just me like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not boot camping the kids. The kids boot camping me too. So I got to see what flows. How do I get to this person? How does this person respond? What praise does this one like? I got to figure them out. So August is boot camp. I figure it out. I lay it down. I continuously drill the rules in a fun way, though. Like, I'm like, oh, the rules, guys, don't we love to have fun? This is the rules. And then for the rest of the year, rainbows and sunshine. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's lovely after that. I enjoy it. At this point, this is my favorite point of the year, because the chaos is not too chaotic. I've seen chaotic classrooms. I've seen chaotic pre-Ks where I'm like, ooh, couldn't be me. I work hard on the front end. I'm not joking. I'd be like, now that's when I come home and I'd be like, dang, I think I got a headache. August. By mid-September, we threw that. We threw that. We on to the next. Like, it's different.
I said, can I just say that God needs to cover the pre-K and K teachers with all the grace, all the mercy, cover them with patience.
Parents are lovely parents though. They gift me like something I ain't never seen in my life. These are lovely parents. Like they're like, "Oh, do you want wine? Do you want like
Yeah,
a charcuterie
we know
board? Do
you
you
need it.
like, oh wait, this beautiful knockoff Stanley came from a
That is
parent.
beautiful.
My favorite.
So,
My very favorite.
didn't you get another one too with your name on it and they be monogramming stuff for you?
Yeah, honey. They be
I
like,
love
they
it.
be looking out. But
They
I'm
need
just
to,
where I
because let
need
me
to be.
tell you, won't he do it? Because God knows, like you said, God knows that he had to make individual people for different things.
Yeah.
I will go to a bank robbery where people are shooting. I will do that. A kindergarten class, oh, oof. I'm not built for it. It's wild. But so that's why I say I didn't end the day with a headache. It was a good day today.
I love that for
And
you.
now I'm at a point where like I see my kindergartners, they run out, Miss, la 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 la, Miss, I gotta tell you all the things. And they want to hug me. And I'm like, this is beautiful. Hug me, tell me all the things. And then go on back to class, little kid.
That's me with
I
older
do love my
kids.
babies. Don't get me wrong. I love my but they was I just for me, the wrangling kindergartners was like wrangling cats.
All day.
Wild.
Yeah.
And so it's crazy. But that's not what our episode's about. And I love the fact that excuse me, I had something on my tongue that was really throwing me off. um, You have no idea what this episode is really about. So I'm
I'm
very
excited.
excited because I am excited about the episode, but I think it's cool getting it to you completely cold.
Yeah.
So today we are going to be trying to have a conversation about social media.
Mm.
And I know you're like, where's all the places this could go
Mm-hmm.
to? Um, I want to tell you why I thought it was important. I think one, social media is literally just weaved into every part of our lives now. And so I thought it was important to talk about for that reason. It's always a hot topic because I think there's people who are on one side or the other for various aspects when it comes to social media. But I also think that right now, social media is a hot topic because right now in the world, there's a lot going on. And even if
Mm-hmm.
you avoid the news, social media has become another news media outlet. And it's become a legitimate media outlet
Yeah.
in some places as well. So when you look at like how things are so different, and specifically what I'm talking about is, there's military operations occurring right now that are really profound and pronounced and talking about what's going to happen and how things are going to affect. And it used to be in previous years, I grew up in the time of Desert Storm and those types of military actions that were taking place at that point. And back then, social media was not such a heavy prevalent presence at the time. So you watched the news. If you didn't want to hear about what was going on, you avoided the news and you didn't have to necessarily be so ingrained. Nowadays, even when we're talking about things like war, when we're talking about things like politics, it has become just completely interwoven in the social media fabric.
Mm-hmm.
And social media has become so woven into our lives that in many cases, even businesses that you deal with direct you to their social media. Um, Whatever it is that you're doing in your lives, you end up rolling social media into it. So therefore, you're still catching all of the things that are going on in the world, the happenings of today.
Mm-hmm.
So with the military action that's taking place, I think that social media is becoming more prevalent because there's a lot of reporting that's coming via that avenue.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was another reason why I thought this was a good topic that mattered right now. So I want to start with a question. And I want to know, what was the first social media platform you remember since we have such the age gap?
Um, I remember hearing about and just seeing like a little bit of Black Planet, which was like before MySpace, but essentially the same difference. You could make your own pages and all that stuff. So Black Planet, you know what I mean, it implies a lot of Black people was on it. Um, the other thing that I really didn't delve into was AOL Messenger, which was like a whole thing that people
It was a
were on,
thing
but I
back
didn't get
then.
into that. The
Yeah.
first one I got down with really got down, because I had a little Black Planet for like 5 seconds, was MySpace.
That was the first
Girl,
one you
I
really
cut
got down
up
with?
with MySpace. I
Cut up.
remember, because, you know, honestly, it was funny because, like, when social media was getting, like, its boom, I was like, it's probably not gonna be for me. And I think I did, like, back up from it for a long time. And then I remember my senior year of high school, it was 2006. I'm old. I mean, so, but,
Ye
so
girl,
2006,
please.
I remember being like, it was my senior year. And, uh, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get this MySpace everybody's talking about. It was the second half of my senior year, and I was taking all the classes that were like not purposeful whatsoever. So I really wasn't doing nothing heavy. I was not doing nothing important and heavy. So I was like, okay, I'll make this MySpace, and I made my MySpace. And what was cool about MySpace was the whole top 8, like the top 8 people. Girl, that was the baby. Top 8. If you made it to the top 8, like that was like who was popular in your life. Like, this is the people who are the best people ever. Um, and then you could like change the backgrounds and like have music come on when and I miss that, because I'm like, Facebook really just railroaded over that. But I changed the music. I still remember this song that I used to have on my MySpace when it would come up. I had like a picture of me and some trees in the background, and I was looking deep, you know what I'm saying, in a black and white picture. And then it was
Was that your deep look?
oh yeah. Well, it was like me looking off. I was like, oh, like, what, who? Somebody called me for this picture? Huh?
Who?
Huh?
Who?
So it was
So
that. And
stupid.
then it was dang, The Roots. It was called
Oh,
Rock and Roll was the song that no, was that it? No. It was Mellow My Man. Oh baby, Mellow My Man used to come on. And I used to get on my page just to see how it looked to other people. I'm like, what it look like when y'all look? And Mellow My Man would come on. I'm like, girl,
who?
I'm killing them. I'm killing them.
Shut him down. Shut him
Shut them
down,
down.
Kasha. Shut him down, Kasha.
MySpace was my first time I got busy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was in my bag
Yeah,
with MySpace.
I love it. That is so funny. I will say, and you know this about me, social media has never been very prevalent in my life. I do it out of sheer necessity. Um,
Truly.
and I heard of Black Planet, never had a page on Black Planet, wasn't my thing. And we'll talk about it, but I did some research for this episode, and I was like researching some of the old ones. I was like, never heard of it. Never heard of it.
Let's see what this
There's
is.
so many that I had no idea. MySpace, obviously, I did know, but I never had a MySpace page.
I knew that.
I, I never did. I know it doesn't surprise you. It might surprise other people, especially because I was in the era where people my age had MySpace.
Did they?
Um, they did it after y'all did it because
Yeah.
the young kids did it, and then my generation tried to jump on it, and then they did, but then very quickly other things kind of came in. But either way, I didn't do none of it anyways, so it didn't matter. Um, the first the first MySpace page I had, I was actually a cop, and I had to create a undercover page for myself. That was the only MySpace page that I ever had.
Girl, did you do some coding and make sure like leaves were falling in the background when it came on? Or
Girl,
some
no,
flowers
I did
turning?
not.
It's
I did not.
boring.
And then for the longest
They knew you was a
time,
cop.
they probably did. But you know what? Still did my job. They
They're
still made it
like, she don't got
easy.
nothing on her page.
They made it so easy still.
That's the police.
And then I turned around and I didn't have Facebook for an absorbent amount of time. You know that.
Yeah.
To the point we'll talk about how bad I was with Facebook later on. But I finally broke down and got it only because I needed to sell a car. That was the only reason. So, I will say
49
the
years
first one I
later.
truly remembered though that like really resonated with me was MySpace, because probably through you, I knew of it, but I still like I never looked at your page because I didn't have it at the same time that you did. I know you was gonna get mad, especially when you was telling me about all the work you put into it.
Where
All the work you put into it. And I'm like, never saw it. Next.
our brother did support my MySpace page. I used to
Did
be
he?
seeing it. He's like, "Oh, I love that song that you have on there." And I was seeing it one time. It was just on his computer. I was like, "Oh, he really cares about his little sister, not Monique."
Great. I love our brother for that. Thanks for being amazing. Just saying. So, we should move on from that because Kasha's mad, y'all.
Big mad.
Um, so like I said, I did some research on figuring out what social media is like, what kicked social media off. And I found in 1997, there was a social media called 6 Degrees. You ever heard of that one?
Never.
It is considered the first true social media networking site. The idea was built from 6 degrees of separation, obviously. And it was the first one where you could create a profile, you could add friends, you could send messages, you could do all those things. But it had a really small audience. People didn't, it was probably because of the time people were like, that ain't gonna last. So it had a very small audience and it shut down in 2001. So that was
Wow.
considered the first one. I had never heard of that one. Like I told you, never heard of it. The one after that was 2002. It was one called Friendster. I never heard of that one.
I heard
You?
of that, but I didn't care about it.
Yeah, it was the first mainstream social networking site. It actually they said was very popular in the 2000s, and the focus was connecting friends and for dating purposes. Um, Never heard of it. Have no idea how it worked. I'm assuming it was probably built off of that previous framework of 6 degrees where it was allowing you to create profiles and that kind of thing. But because it had a lot of technical problems and their servers were very slow, people gave up on it because, people like
Mm,
stuff right now. So that was in 2002. And then 2003, that's when yours came through, Kasha. MySpace hit the scene. And they said it was the, I'm trying to put on MySpace side. Wait a minute, that's the S. MySpace was the first most influential social media page that came out. So Friendster and all them were out, but they didn't seem to influence a lot of people. By 2006, this is when you oh 06, this was when you graduated. Y'all used to do that so much. Oh my
I
gosh.
forgot about that. It's so funny. It came back to
Yeah,
me.
you used to say that all the time.
Oh,
That's why I said
sis.
that. Oh 06. Ugh,
I'm embarrassed. Anybody who
you
graduated in
should be.
'06, rap. '06,
So dumb.
millennials.
Um, That's when it became the largest. So that's probably why, like your time frame, that people were like, "Oh, let's shop," because that's when it became one of the largest. And the big thing was it was customizable, like you said, and the top 8 friends list. That
Mm,
was what hit it for them. And you could music share. Um,
yeah,
I forgot about that because that's where that's where the music scene completely changed because you had
yeah,
MySpace come through doing that, and then you had a bunch of other sharing sites that were specifically for music. You remember that back in the day?
yeah.
There was a lot of people that would like LimeWire, I remember was a
Yes,
big one.
LimeWire,
There
Napster.
was another one,
They was going to court
Napster.
over that nonsense. They was
They
cutting up.
they started arresting people for that nonsense. People was downloading whole like catalogs of people's music.
Yeah.
So they were like straight to jail. So
Movies, everything. They was cutting up. That was the
everything.
year of the
So
Wild Wild
I
West.
think MySpace kind of jumped that off because they were music sharing along with being social media and kind of like because people could put the music on their page. Oh, I know. I know you
I
did.
got no, I got a question.
Yes.
Since you were doing research, who was everybody's first friend on MySpace?
Okay. I didn't look it up, but I feel like I can guess this. Everybody's first friend on MySpace, Kevin Bacon.
Baby,
Six
I'm out of here.
6 degrees of
Let's
separation?
shut
No?
it
Okay.
down. I'm
Okay, never
done.
mind. Okay. Okay, first friend. Let me think.
Kevin
He
Bacon.
I was thinking 6 degrees of separation. That's why.
I said
Um,
MySpace.
I know, but I was thinking that maybe it tied to it. Um, the crazy part is I believe that this was a Jeopardy question. I believe it was. And I cannot remember. All right, tell me.
Tom.
Tom Green?
No,
No.
just Tom. Tom was the one who created MySpace, and he had this picture where he was like looking back, like, "Hey, y'all." Everybody's first friend was Tom. He was the creator of MySpace. Look up Tom MySpace, and you'll see that exact picture. Like,
I
white tee, and he's like, "Huh?"
did not put his name in
She
my
said
notes,
Kevin
but I
Bacon.
did see it. I did say Kevin. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, Tom. Thanks for being friends with everybody on MySpace, though. We appreciate you. And your look back, he looked over his shoulder.
Yeah, he did. He was like, "That is not true, Monique."
Sorry, Tom. I did not write down who the creators of any of these were. I probably should have done that to give them their props. My
Sorry. No,
bad.
it's just a real notable thing when it came to MySpace. Like, Tom wanted to be known. He was everybody's first friend. Like, when you started
I
your
love
MySpace,
him.
Tom was just sitting there. He was like,
He would
"Okay."
friend request you immediately.
No, it's not a friend request. He
How
was
did it
there.
work?
He was built
Oh, he
in.
would just show up.
He was there.
He
Yeah.
was built into it.
Yeah.
Bro, he said he's going to get his props.
And a lot of people put him on the top 8 because they were like, Tom. I think he was on my
Would
top 8
he
for a while.
interact with you?
No, not at all. I never tried to either.
That's
He probably,
that's
I mean, maybe, but no.
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love that. Little known fact about MySpace. Well, maybe it was a lot of known fact. Little known fact to me because I never had MySpace.
Like, looking like a cop with just Tom as your friend.
Kasha's very disappointed in me, y'all. Sorry.
Disappointed.
Sorry. Sorry. So those were the ones that were the like old school or the early platforms of social media.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the current platforms of social media, we won't dive into them too much because we probably already know them. It's just when they started, I was surprised about. Did you know that LinkedIn started in 2003?
Mm-mm.
I didn't know that either. That's a long time ago.
It's a long time ago.
A long time ago. So I guess maybe because LinkedIn obviously was not for casual socialization. It was more for professional networking, getting jobs, networking for careers, sharing professional content, that kind of thing. Maybe that's why that people didn't know because now LinkedIn is very, I feel like it's the only way people get jobs nowadays is you have to go on LinkedIn. Well, let me rephrase that. You don't get jobs that way. You apply because you don't actually get a job. It's crazy.
One of my stems is, what's a LinkedIn? Beyonce knows my name. Because I used
When
to
you
listen
say stems, what are you talking about? Oh, you mean it like makes
like
you
a
say
vocal
that?
stem. Like, I just say it. It's comforting. I just do it. What's a
That is
LinkedIn?
true.
Beyonce knows my name. I say that.
For sure, she does say that quite often in our conversations, and I've gotten to where I just ignore it because it just comes out of nowhere. Yeah,
Beyonce does not know my name, not for now. And
she
I hope
will.
Beyonce watches our podcast. That would be amazing.
Yeah,
But
shout out to Beyonce. For those of y'all
shout
who
out
know
to B.
Beyonce, let her know that we're out here.
But I get that from this girl, Evelyn, from the internet. Beyonce did a concert and put one of her videos into the concert, the little montage on the concert, and she was like, everybody's been sending me this, and she's like, "What's a LinkedIn? Beyonce knows my name." I was like, exactly.
I love her for that, though.
So,
she's like, I don't need that.
Yeah, I'll be like, my resume, Beyonce knows my name. The end.
Beyonce knows my name.
You're dumb if you don't
Send
hire
it.
me. Send it.
So, do you know when Facebook started?
I would say
I feel
at a similar time to MySpace, but I think it popped off in 07.
it did start in a similar time as MySpace. MySpace started in 03. It started in 04. I was shocked because I didn't realize it was that old, but when I read what it was originally created for, it made sense why we probably weren't looking for it then and checking for it. It was originally limited to college students. And it took a while for it to expand globally, but then once it did, it was the largest platform for a number of years, for a long, long time. But yeah, that's why, like, I didn't, in my head, I think I knew that because I know he started it while he was in college, but it didn't fully resonate with me until I was reading through this. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Also, YouTube, you know when that started?
YouTube started in 2005.
Nailed it.
I was like, damn, I was like, let me think. Because I remember when YouTube was starting out, I was on YouTube before I was even caring about MySpace and them. I was like, this is cool.
Really?
Oh.
Really? Well,
Mm-hmm.
no, because YouTube, MySpace was first.
Yeah, but I wasn't
MySpace
on
started in,
MySpace.
oh,
I wasn't
my
on
bad.
MySpace.
I see.
Yeah,
I see. Yeah, well, yeah, it started in '05, and obviously
yeah.
we know it, YouTube's video sharing, community interactions, and it's grown to be even more nowadays to
Mm-hmm.
all the things that YouTube
All the
is
things.
music, it's on television, streaming service, and all the things now. So, but when it was just video sharing and community interaction. Twitter, what's your guess on that one?
Twitter. I would say closer. I shot in the dark. Oh, wait.
Close. It was actually very shortly after YouTube, '06.
Uh,
It was initially not that, oh geez, not as popular, obviously, but they used it more for public conversations, for news, and then it moved into celebrities using it, and then that
mm,
really blew it up, obviously. Instagram, when it started,
'07. I'm just making shit up.
2010.
Oh,
Snapchat,
say to 2010 too.
11,
Okay.
2011, and then TikTok.
Oh, I was on TikTok early. The youngsters got me on that. I would say
It was earlier than I thought. I thought in my head it was a different time frame.
16.
Nailed it.
Hey, that's what I said. I was on
Hey,
that thing
you
early. That was
were.
like, cause everything I joined begrudgingly. I was like, I didn't want to be on MySpace at first, and I got on it. I didn't want to be on Facebook. Got on. I deleted my MySpace to get on Facebook for some reason. I didn't have to delete it, but I did. I regret that to this day because Facebook is so plain. You can't do nothing with it. You just be running your
Yeah.
mouth, and it's just a mess. You can't put no music. You
You can't put
can't do no
music to
coding.
Facebook? Oh, that's
Ugly.
interesting.
Um, and I actually I joined Instagram way late. Oh my gosh, it was when your friend was throwing her 40th birthday party. I got on Instagram.
What? Oh,
Yeah. And for some reason there was
interesting.
like we could share the videos to like, celebrate her birthday on there, and I started it
Hmm.
literally for that.
That's great.
It was late though. I would say that was like both of my kids were born.
Really?
Mhm. It was like
That's, oh,
17, 18 maybe.
I,
I was late to
I
that
didn't
party.
realize that TikTok was around as long as it was. I thought in my head, TikTok came with COVID.
It
Who
got
knew?
popular in COVID, but I was already on that bad
Yeah,
boy. Cause remember I was
I
doing
was
that.
not.
Just give me hit a button, hit me, give me the beat.
I thought you did that during COVID time.
Oh yeah, gotta get swifty. That was 2019.
I love it. People go look at Kasha's TikTok. It's hilarious. It is hilarious, let me tell you. But in my head, you were doing all that during COVID time because we couldn't be around each other. So you were getting crazy in your house, doing all
Yeah.
kinds of nonsense. Um,
No.
it was 2016, but they said it didn't get really big until 2018 when it merged with another social media platform called Musically,
Mm-hmm.
which, by the way, never heard of it.
What? Are you sure?
I have never heard of Musically.
What was the one you did when you were like, make me a burger?
Oh,
See, we got too many inside jokes on this.
that was another social media platform. It was not, it was, oh
Was that
gosh, what was that
Vine?
called? It wasn't Vine, no. The funny part is I saved those videos to my phone and it came up in my memories like 2 weeks ago, that exact one, where whatever it was, people, for those of you, it was a platform where you could take sounds and you would lip sync them, very similar to
To
some of the stuff that
TikTok.
happens on TikTok now.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't as, I would say, you couldn't have, it wasn't as long as TikTok. And it was a platform where you could do that and then you could send them to people as like, oh, I'm gonna send it to 'em as a little snippet or a video or
Yeah.
whatever. Or I used to do ones for people's birthdays and all kinds of nonsense. So yeah, it was not Musically, it was something else. And I'll have to look it up later on my phone and tell you what it was
Okay.
because I'll remember it if I see it. But they merged with Musically in 2018.
Mhm.
And at that point, that's when they really became big.
I can see
So
it.
I thought it was very interesting to kind of go through the timeline. And there were some other smaller ones that I was like, I have no idea who y'all are at all. But there was a lot. That was the thing that really blew my mind is there was a lot of social media platforms that have popped up here and there. And it was just the ones that we know of that kind of took the center stage,
Mhm.
and they were around for a lot longer than I truly even knew that they were around. So I found it really interesting to do that kind of research it and see this kind of stuff.
That's cool.
So it was very cool. But I want to talk about because I think there are some things about social media that are great. There's some things that are not. And I want to kind of go through a quick questions, like just I want to pose some questions to you about social media, have some discussion points, I would say. So social media initially started, I would say, and you can tell me if you agree, as a way for us to connect as people.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think there was definitely now in this day and age, there's been a shift because it's no longer a connection mechanism, I don't think, just because now it's shifted to we have influencers. We have
Mm.
brands that they completely launch entirely off of social media. And I think the biggest change is algorithms. I think algorithms have completely changed it from being able to just connect with people. And I think that came into play when you're talking about those bigger ones like Facebook, like Instagram, like TikTok. They wanted to find a way to take the social media world and really monetize it and be able
Yeah.
to make money off of it. And the only way you could do that was through algorithms. But then I think that changed it from being organic. What are
Yeah,
your
I agree.
thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think with all of those things, like you said, MySpace and Facebook, I definitely, well, I feel like MySpace was one of those things like where you're connecting with people you kind of already know and having another avenue to communicate with them. Um, Facebook became, like you said, it was like that college thing. It was kind of like one of those things where you felt like you were reaching out to other people of your age bracket and other people who were in college at the same time and things like that. And then it grew from there and you kind of were chatting with people that you've known forever, whatever. I feel like Instagram, I think I was resistant from it for a while because I think it was just one of those things where people would post quotes and stuff, but now it's like TikTok Junior, but but
Yeah,
anyways, TikTok I thought was so interesting when it came out. We were doing Vines among each other like, as, for
right.
fun. But TikTok, I could understand why it blew up to be what it is today. Because TikTok was so interesting. I think that we always experimented with the algorithm at first. So sometimes you would see a lot of people from your area. Literally, you'd be like, oh, it says, whatever, and they're mentioning stuff in my town or in my state. And then it started to kind of branch out and you'd see people who were similar to you. One of my best friends, we talk about how we curate our algorithm. Like we train our algorithm. We built it brick by brick. You know what I'm saying? Because some people get on there and they're like, oh my gosh, I hate social media. I see so much negative stuff. And I'm like, what? I see lilies and flowers and things. like I see so much stuff that I'm into because that's what
Yeah,
I interact with. I swipe to past stuff that I don't interact with. Um, I have felt like there were times that I was just seeing a lot of negative things and trying to defend things that I felt like were important to me or trying to speak on things, trying to be even helpful to some people who thought, oh, wow, they're going through a hard time. Like, let's send $1 to their Cash App, you know? But, things like that. So it was like, I did see where it was just, um, all of it. Like, I think it still has its sense of community and connection on TikTok that people kind of crave because you see a lot of people who are so similar to you, like just based
right.
on that algorithm. But sometimes I think they do capitalize on our negativity and things that and everything I think all of them capitalize on our negativity and what we deal with that sense. So if that answers your question, I branched off a little bit.
No, you did. Because I'm just saying, I think we're saying it started out as a way to connect people, but I think that the monetization has made it very different. And I think there are people who don't realize what you just said is that you do train your algorithm. You do tell your algorithm what you want to see. I don't see a lot of negative stuff on my social medias that I do have because I don't like or stay on things that are negative.
Right.
I use my social media as complete entertainment.
Hmm.
People who try to advertise to me on social media, good luck. Whatever
Swipe.
swipe I gotta do, I'm gonna do it fast.
you,
You're not gonna catch me there,
you better hope it's
So
something I really want to buy anyways.
like I really like. So I don't think people realize that what you feed into is what it's going to give you.
Hmm.
And I think people do realize it at times too, but they get wrapped around the axle. And so they go down a
Mm.
rabbit hole. That's the word. Like they'll go down a rabbit hole about something. I cannot I can't. So, but I really think that between the influencers that wanted to monetize and make money and the brands that wanted to monetize to make money. So therefore they had to create a way to be able to do it, which was these algorithms. And they started presenting these to these large companies like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Yeah.
And they saw the value in being able to do it. That's what changed it, I think, thing from a connection mechanism to something that is not as connecting, I don't think.
Hmm.
And which leads me to my next question. Do you think that social media is more of a positive thing or a negative thing?
I think it's your attitude and habits towards social media. It can be a positive thing if you are using it as a tool. And I say that in the sense of a tool where you are learning something, you are getting something out of it. If you're using it in a sense where you are trying to see like workouts or you're trying to see better recipes, at the very least, where you're interacting, it's a tool for you to interact with your family, your friends, what have you. It can be something that can provide information, like you were saying earlier. If you want to learn how to work out, if you want to learn healthy recipes, if you want to learn something that is positive, it can be a positive thing for you. If you are using it and you're kind of focusing in on stuff that are like the worst things in the world that's going on, that is really dangerous because with social media, we don't have the ability to unplug as much anymore. And so
Right.
if you're not unplugging and you're not having that be a tool that can help your growth, it can be really dangerous and it can become like an echo chamber of your own thoughts and your own beliefs and non-challenged beliefs and
Yeah.
thoughts. And it can be really dangerous because if you're in a dark place and you're in a negative space, if you have a negative viewpoint, you'll see evidence of it. You know what I'm saying? It's like one of
Right.
those things where one thing about social media, because of those algorithms, it's like you see what you are. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
if you're very negative, you always see negativity or you always point it out. And it gets worse with social media. Now, what I say
Yeah.
with habits as well, it can be too much of a good thing too. Um, some people are like, oh, I do it to decompress. I do it to laugh. I do it to do this. And I've fallen into this trap as well because life can get
Of course.
busy. And one of the few things that you can kind of just control in a sense is saying like, oh, let me get on my social media. With that being said, you can spend hours laughing at something and
Yeah.
abandoning things you really need to be doing and saying,
100%.
oh, I don't have time to build on myself. I don't have time to do these things. And then
Right.
it's like those hours that you took up just being on social media, or sometimes the hours that you really deserve for yourself, you've taken away. Like you need to be sleeping and you're
Right.
on there. So it can be a positive or a negative thing when you do not have discipline around it. So that's my
Yeah,
thought.
100%. And I think you kind of touched on um, what I was saying is there comes a point where social media went from being, in my opinion, or can go from being fun to starting to feel like almost pressure because
Mm,
of the different things that either you are looking at, and like you said, whatever you are can go a lot of times unsupported, and that's not fun.
Mhm.
It's not fun. It's not real, true decompression.
Mhm.
It's that's why they made up the term doom scrolling. It
Yeah.
leads you down a path of doom. It really does. I will say that a lot of times social media does get a heavy and hard rap for being bad, but there's a lot of good sides to social media, and I wanted to get your take on if you agreed with these as being good sides, or are there other things too that I'm leaving out? I think it is good for building community. And
Mhm.
I say that because in my neighborhood, for instance, we have created a social media page essentially
Mhm.
for our neighborhood. It is completely you have to live in our neighborhood to be part of it, so
Mhm.
that way we don't have. There were some other ones, and I'm not going to name them because I don't want them to not want to sponsor us later on. So um, but there were other ones that when we signed up for them, it wasn't just our neighborhood, which is kind of small. It was an entire like circle radius of an area.
Yeah.
So you were getting thousands of homes at a point, and they were just griping, and sometimes it was a lot. So we created a social media page that is just for our community, where our neighbors talk to each other. If there's a car in the neighborhood, everybody lets everybody know if there's something happening. But then it also is our page for posting all of our fun events that we're doing, and
Mhm.
checking in on each other when we know somebody's not doing well, or there's been a death in that person's family or something like that. It has really given our neighborhood an opportunity to really build community, because now you don't just drive by that person's house. You know that person's name. You
Yeah.
know that they needed help because their horse passed away, or they needed help because their kid was, needed to be picked up, or they
Mhm.
were having a birthday party for their kid. Now it's like you're putting a face with the name. And to me, that we're using social media in order to build our community, because people have gotten away from people don't go outside anymore. People don't interact that way. So it's our way of kind of going outside and meeting each other. Another thing I think is really good is supporting small businesses. The
Mm.
area I lived in is a lot of small businesses because it's a little town, and they post a lot of stuff on various community pages in order to drive business their way,
Mhm.
and to tell about the uniqueness of what they offer. I think those are two things that to me are really big, that are a really good part of the social media world, because it's taken what a lot of times feels like it's a very big world, and it's made it smaller, because we
Yeah.
can reach out and connect with each other very easily. Um, One other one, and I'll get your input because I have a bunch, so I don't want to run through the whole list.
Yeah.
The other one I would say is awareness about social causes, because there are so many little known things out there that are plaguing people. It allows you the ability to share. And I
Mhm.
say, because one of my very good friends has a daughter has a autoimmune disorder,
Mhm.
and it was a very rare disorder. And I think prior to social media, she would have felt very alone,
Yeah.
but social media allowed her to connect with people who had children who had been through it. It allowed her to connect to doctors who had treated children. It allowed her to connect to nutritionists. It made her world feel less small, because
Yeah.
she was able to talk to people who were in her same predicament at that time.
Yeah.
And it allowed her also to create a plan for her daughter, a wellness plan for her daughter that really
Mhm.
worked for her. So,
Mhm.
what are your thoughts on those three?
I agree with that. I feel like that is the positive side. I think that's where down in its roots where it was supposed to be, like social media was supposed
Yeah.
to be for that type of connection. Some of my favorite things is seeing people build community, even community that doesn't really have nothing to do with me, but I
Mhm.
love to see that where they build community and build like, you know, a tribe of people who've been through the same thing. So, seeing
Yeah.
people who connect over grief. I mean, without social media, sometimes some of these people literally would be dealing with this grief alone. And even though it's
Right.
a small gesture, I feel like I'm genuine in the comments and I think other people are also genuine. But when someone is like, hey, I lost my mom 2 weeks ago, and these are like real things I'm recalling, or, my grandfather died and things like that. And people are like, oh, from the bottom of my heart, we're praying for you. And I want you to, do this. Or I lost somebody too. Hey, if you want to connect, can you message me? Those things I think are really beautiful things. And when they come from an honest place, I think it's like awesome, and there's some people who have actually created pages to deal with that type of grief. God forbid, but this lady had lost her daughter to an accident where somebody was
Mm.
texting and driving and never looked up. So he never pressed the brakes, and her daughter passed away at 7 years old. And it was really sad to see and hear about, but she was, talking about that, and in that had kind of created a community in its own with other people who have lost children in that way. And so you got to think, like, when people live in rural areas, when people do not have
Yeah.
family, like some people have terrible families, like,
Yeah.
so when people do not have that sense of connection in their real waking life, I guess, to have social media can be such a godsend and keep people really strong, and really
Yeah.
good, and having a sense of people who are around who are doing the same thing. I agree on the same sense. We have some family members in our family that actually reached out and found doctors that helped them, and thank goodness. Through finding them through social media. So I'm like a whole advocate for that, because some
Yeah.
of the other side of it, someone telling you, no, that's impossible. And then there's somebody who's like, I got you. And they did.
Yeah.
So, I really think that, those are the good things I could see for sure.
For sure. And just to tease, I can tell you, we won't give the info on it, but I know the doctor that our family member reached out to, we are going to try to get him on our show so that he can talk because he was amazing. And
Amazing.
we vicariously love him for what he did for our family.
Exactly.
So for sure.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, I think another thing that has been a big deal for social media that's positive is the networking aspect and career opportunities because we talked about LinkedIn, but there's been people who've gotten hooked up or connected with people through even Facebook and some of the other ones, Instagram, that have created jobs for them and have allowed them to career change or explore the idea of career changing. And I think that's a very positive thing for people to maybe try something different or push their dreams through social media.
Yeah.
And the very obvious one is keeping families and friends connected with each other. I will
Mm-hmm.
tell you, I was very resistant for a very long time because I grew up where I live. Most of my family is still here. So I
Mm-hmm.
never felt the need to have social media to share pictures and things like that. But I do have to say, I always did respect people who had moved somewhere else or lived around the world and their family was one place and they wanted to make sure that birthday parties and things like that, that they shared in real time what was happening. And I think, again, that goes back to making the world a little bit smaller for
Yeah.
people. They
Yeah.
feel less disconnected or disjointed from their family
Mm-hmm.
via social media. And I
Yeah.
think that lends to what you said, that this is what social media was built to be
Mm-hmm.
about. So I do want to ask you, do you have a time where you personally had social media create a positive experience for you?
I would say it was TikTok. I mean, I jumped on everything for the other things for like, I felt a peer pressure because they were like, get on there so I can send you stuff. And I was like, okay. Um, TikTok was the same. It was like work peer pressure. They were like, do it. Um,
Do it, do it. Sorry.
I think I looked to figure out things about myself through there. I looked to, figure out like some of the things I enjoy if I could indulge in them. And that's what I started making my own little TikToks that were silly and funny. And I still enjoy that. So I would say it was a sense of learning about myself, piecing together, like curating who I am in a way. Like I have
Yeah.
like little favorites. And I was like, if you look through those favorites, you could be like, oh, that's Kasha. Like that makes total sense that she likes that. So I think that was really positive, and I think, in the time, I would not credit TikTok with, like, digging me out of a mental hole that I was in some period of my life, but I do say when I decided to seek out a change, that was something that I kind of used. Between that and
I
Pinterest, which
see.
Pinterest, down by
Oh,
law,
we
I'm
didn't even
never
say
giving
nothing
up
about
Pinterest.
Pinterest. I
I ain't
totally
never
forgot.
given up Pinterest.
Baby,
Um,
let me tell you, when I said I didn't like social media, I lied because that was the one I got on immediately.
and
I
I ain't
love me
never
some
going off
Pinterest.
Pinterest.
Never. Let me tell if I ever want to look for something, I'm going straight to Pinterest first. I will tell you for recipes, for crafting something, for building a Valentine's Day box for my son,
Girl,
to what tattoo I'm gonna do. Like it's Pinterest all the way, baby. I
we
forgot
blended
about
in.
that.
I ain't never given up Pinterest. But
Never.
between
I forgot
Pinterest and
Pinterest.
exactly, between
My
Pinterest
bad.
and TikTok, when I started deciding, I won't credit that with being like the reason I changed, but when I decided I will be changing the way I think about life and will be changing from my mental health for me, I sought out things through that. And so
Yeah,
I would say that was something that was a positive change for me.
I agree. That's pretty cool. I did not know that, by the way. I learned something new, guys. I would say I have had a positive experience in social media, and it's kind of interesting because it was a situation where my son had gotten hurt and we had taken him to the hospital
Mhm.
and we were there and we weren't sure exactly what was going to happen. Let's, to be perfectly frank, we were very, very scared.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was going one way with him. My husband was in the room where we had been waiting, and he called someone who had social media, and that
Mhm.
person immediately posted on social media, "We need prayer for this little
Mm,
boy."
mm.
And within probably about 10 minutes, this person received 500 responses back that were praying in that amount of time.
Wow.
And I always say, if you don't believe in God, I got a story for you. And this was it.
Yeah.
Because while they were doing that, I was taking him over to get a CAT scan actually. And he was not very responsive going to this CAT scan. And
Mm.
I'm not gonna cry. Not every episode.
Not every, but we're gonna do it. Go ahead and let it
We
out.
gonna do
I
it.
did it. You got you.
So he was not very responsive at this point. And so, like I said, at this point, we had people praying for us that I didn't even know. And I was praying. And I laid him down for them to do the CAT scan. And in about a minute or two, he sat up and went from being unresponsive to having a full conversation with me and asking me what was going on. Why were we doing this? Was he on an airplane? And I explained it to him that he wasn't on an airplane, that they were doing a picture of his brain, and that they were trying to make sure he was okay. And he says, "Mom, I'm fine." And we later found out that he had a concussion, a pretty good concussion. And they said, there's no such thing as a good concussion, but he had a concussion.
Yeah.
And he went from being concussed and not responding really, not being able to really wake him up, to waking up, having full sentences, going back in the room with his dad, who was an absolute puddle at this point because of obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And, and, saying, "Daddy, why are you crying?" And he said, "Son, I was worried about you." He goes, "Well, let's just sit down and have a conversation." And from that point on, he was fine.
That
We
is so
followed up
on
with
brand for him.
neurologist. So on brand for him. And we followed up with neurologist, and they said he has absolutely no residual issues or effects from the concussion, and he's never had to go back again.
That's
So
amazing.
I fully believe in the power of prayer. And I believe that without social media, we would not have been able to tell that many people to pray all at once. And I fully believe that God hears the prayers of many as much as he hears the prayers of one. But I think when you
Yeah.
have 500 people in an instant that all have a unified reason to be praying to him, that was an amazing effect of social media.
Yeah.
So I said I wasn't going to cry and I lied, y'all.
Dang.
Uh, it's my baby, though.
You
I'm
wait.
going to cry
Yeah.
about him
Any day of
anytime,
the week. I feel
any
like
day.
honestly feel guilty. Like if I say in the comment, I will be praying. I actually do because I feel guilty if I don't. I'll be like, no, I'm gonna pray
Yes,
at
me
this exact
too.
moment, so I don't
Me
mess.
too. I
Because
pray right
I'm
then so I don't
praying
forget.
lies. Like I pray, I'll be like, and then, like immediately. So,
Immediately.
that's really beautiful. I didn't even remember that in the chaos of everything at that time, but
Yeah,
that's really beautiful.
it was. And
Yeah.
it's one of those stories that if we go into the details of everything, it's one of those stories that, like, if you don't believe in God, I can show you. I can show you. And even the doctor said, the doctor was like, I've never seen someone have a concussion. He's like, I've seen them recover, but not 1 minute they're this way and the next minute they're fine. I've never seen that.
Yeah.
So that was an amazing impact of social media.
Well, that just makes me feel encouraged that if the next time I say I'm praying for somebody, I'll be like, oh, it might, I'm just doing my little prayer. It might have worked.
It might have worked, let me tell you.
For real.
So we were talking about the positives of social media, and obviously there's a darker side of social media, and I want to dive into that a little bit deeper. You touched on one part of it a little bit earlier, but I think there is a couple things, and I'm going to throw them all out there and then we can talk about them. I think some of the darker sides are mental health.
Hmm.
I think there's a huge mental health component that comes along with social media that's negative. There's a culture of comparison that
Mm,
is overwhelming when you're talking about it. Cyberbullying.
mm,
And when it came to that, it was funny because when cyberbullying became a thing, I was a cop at the time. And I will say, in my being completely honest, I was very dismissive of it. I'm like, "Ugh, we all got bullied. Get over yourself, blah, 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 blah." Towards the end of my career, I realized it was very different. Cyberbullying is very different than what I grew up with. I grew up with regular bullying, and when I came home, it stopped. Cyberbullying never ends for these kids. They don't have a means of getting away because these kids are so connected, and people are like, well, just turn the phone off. These kids have grown up in a culture of social media.
yeah.
They don't without parental intervention, they don't
Hmm.
know how to turn it off. They don't know how to not let it would be like us being the vast majority of us watch TV. And for us to say, just don't watch TV, it would be wild to people because it's become so interwoven into our society. That is the same thing when you say to these kids, turn off your phone, don't do this, that it's interwoven in what their
Yeah.
life is. So the
Yeah.
cyberbullying is connected to that. And I know you probably have some stuff to add to that, but I want to go through the list real quick and then we'll circle back.
Hmm.
Uh, Misinformation on social media has become huge because there is legitimate news that occurs on social media, but now it's intermixed with things that aren't real. And it's crazy. The addiction of social media and the doom scrolling, like we talked about, our kids growing up online and our parents not realizing that you do need to create boundaries for children when it comes to social media because social media is access to the world.
Yeah.
I think those are all huge things in my opinion, but they are huge things that we have a way of lessening the effect of them.
Right.
So which one of those things really resonated with you when we're talking about the darker side of social media?
Well, all of them. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, first thing first, I feel like there could be,
Your puppy dog is really wanting to be part of this conversation tonight. He's never this vocal.
I don't know what's going on. I'm like,
He's very vocal tonight.
can we be quiet? Okay, we're gonna try again. So, um, the thing of it is that like the echo chamber, like that, like being around
Yeah.
that kind of media that you like, you're only hearing your own opinion, the
Yeah.
opinion that is common to you and things like that. So, um, that's one thing. The number two thing is the comparison thing. That is something that a
Yeah.
lot of people, and even in the fits of me not being the most mentally strong, I really didn't have a lot of that going on. Because I still wanted social media to be fun for me, so I didn't have that thing where I compared my life too much, especially things that just seem unreal. Like people are like,
Right.
"Oh, I have the perfect man and I have the perfect woman," and I'm just like, something about I always liked real acting and real looking people. I look up more to the people who
Right.
are in my life who I know then had some, you know what I mean, and had it out with each other and be like, yeah,
Right.
he got a big head. And he's like, yeah, her feet big too. Those are the people I look up to because I just like, oh, they real, you know what I'm saying?
They real.
And they worked it out. She got over his big
Right.
head and he got over her big feet. You know
Her
what I'm
big
saying?
feet.
I look up to that more than I look up to somebody who appears to have the perfect relationship, even the perfect home. Those are things I'm like, I just resent, you know how I don't like the very sterile looking white home with the white couches. Ugly. Hate it. Not for
Ugly.
me.
Not
If you can
lived.
tell from from all the stuff going on behind me, I am kind of a maximalist. So I don't like I don't like connect to that at all. But I do understand and I do have empathy for those who feel like social media makes them feel small against someone else. I try to
Right.
remind people like it's a show where we are all
Yeah.
actors and we're putting on a show kind of thing. But it's something to me. I don't know. It's just like I don't 100% connect with it, but I do have empathy for it. The other thing is about the cyberbullying. I was the same. Because I came in at the start of that, I would say social media boom. Like we talked about social media kind of started before I was like a young adult kind of thing. But
Right.
the social media boom was in the millennial era. Like that was our era that we were a part of that boom. And so once Facebook and MySpace was taken off, we were on that train. The cyberbullying probably looked different to us because we were like, girl, if you don't log off,
Right.
like you,
Exactly.
you don't sign out.
If you don't turn
But
that off.
yeah, like, but it's so different. And
Yeah.
I had a conversation recently, and our brother was saying these kids now don't know, they've never seen life without social media. Like that's just
No.
bam. They have
Never.
been born into it. They don't know nothing different. They literally have grown up on social media where their
Yeah.
parents were taking pictures of them from young, which I really love. I will say there's an angle where a lot of these social media companies are starting to kind of block content or minimize content that has children. I personally have never put my children online ever. Not really a fan of my kids being tagged on, like me being tagged into something where my kids are online. I
Nope.
don't know. I don't want you to know what they look like. So a lot of these kids grew up in it. Like literally their
Yeah.
parents have taught them this. Like they were raised onto social media. So to tell them to turn it off is one thing. And there's so many different ones. Like you were saying, there are so many different ones. A thing young kids are on now is Discord. They're like, oh, well, it's different. You can create your own little rooms, or I'm probably saying it wrong, so y'all could come at me, but I'm just saying your own little servers. That's what it is. Your own servers
Right.
and nobody else is on it and da da da. But this is the thing that is hard about social media. And when it comes to cyberbullying, the reason, no, we're not talking to you. Thank you. The quiet. So the thing that we don't understand is, like I said, I came in the right in the upswing of social media. So I could log off. I was okay with logging off. It was no big deal. Now if Monique is talking shit about me at school and I go home
Right.
and I'm like, oh, I don't want to talk to her anymore. I'm just going to get online. My other friend can just be like, oh, so and so, oh, Monique's on Instagram talking mad shit about you. Like she on there.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right
saying? And
now.
then Monique, Kasha talking hella shit on TikTok on you. She put
Right.
your ass on Snapchat in a minute. You know what I'm saying? So it's like literally it's every angle.
Everywhere.
And so
Yeah.
your friends are a part of social media. They're promoting it even when you're trying to get out
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
And so it's a different beast. And that's one thing too. It's like we all kind of grew up with bullying and it was horrible in some points in my life. The one thing that literally got me through is that I had a loving family could always come home to. And the other thing I would say was I just got to make it home. You know what I'm saying? They might fight me on the bus, but I got to get home. And
Right.
once I got home, I would do whatever I needed to comfort myself and build myself up for the next day. You get what I'm saying? This is an argument I have with my son for the sake of purposes, because I don't share my son and daughter. I do have them. I call him Bull Run on here. Okay. So for the sake of that,
Bull run.
me and Bull have it out about social media because he's like, I'm old enough now. I'm old enough. He is a very young teenager. And I think once he can be driving or close to driving, we can talk about social media. I think his brain needs to develop a little bit more. And it's not a personal jab at him. It's literally, I feel like being um, a child and growing up in it, I think you just need a little bit more time to understand yourself
Right.
before you can start dealing with all these opinions. I mean, it's hard on adults. There are people who are on social media and they're influencers, and literally some people I've been following for years, and then all of a sudden they just disappear. And then I'm like, oh,
Right.
what happened to them? And they'll come back and say, I couldn't take the pressure anymore. And it was
Right.
like, I couldn't take everybody's opinions. I couldn't take what was going on. Um, I couldn't take that I was literally a show monkey for everybody. I couldn't take those things, and I had
Right.
to take a step back. And so
Yeah.
thinking about how heavy that can be and how people's words are, and some people it's just it's I mean, now at my big age at 37, I know that hurt people hurt people.
Right.
People who are very sound and solid and confident in themselves never try to tear other people down, and that's at any age.
No.
But as a child, you don't understand that.
No, you don't.
And sometimes there's a grown ass adult who are on this social media being keyboard warriors, talking all the shit, you know what I'm saying? And saying
Mhm.
nasty stuff to people that really seeps in. And so it's very different. It's hard. It's our main um way to consume media.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't even watch stuff if they haven't figured out what they said about it on social media yet. You get what I'm saying? Like they're not even
Yeah.
on the TV until social media has said its piece. So it's a very strong presence, and it's different than what we grew up in. And so I released my judgment. I released my original thought processes when I was saying, oh well, the kids need to get over it. I take that back. It's never
Yeah.
ending story. So
Yeah.
they can't just shut
I
down the computer. There will be a
no.
message, there will be a text, there will be something. And I also, just a quick note, like sometimes
Yeah.
even for me, notifications can be like overwhelming. I can't stand to see that damn
Yeah.
red dot with like 70 million like notifications. I'm like, God damn, tell me what.
Turn
I'm
them
like,
off.
turn them off. Like even
You
like
know?
I don't put anybody who know me, you
I
will
know.
never get a notification that aggravate my soul, but when I get into the
Never.
app and I see the stuff, it's overwhelming. So I can only imagine a
Right.
kid who opens it up
Yeah.
and there's message after message of people talking shit about
Yeah.
them, regardless of if you think they deserve it or not. It's heavy. So I
Yeah. And
understand
not
that.
to mention nowadays too, a lot of our kids, their their actual academic careers are based in social media. It's
Mm.
based in them doing work in social media.
Mm-hmm.
So the avoidance of it, most schools have a platform for kids to communicate. And it's like, it's not at all like it used to be for us. And
Mm-mm.
like you said, I have really laid down the idea that cyberbullying is, I don't know why we used to, because when I first was like I said, when I was a cop and we'd get called to people's homes because cyberbullying became a crime, and I'd be like, you've got to be kidding me. And I'd roll my eyes, this and the other. And then as I dove into these cases, I realized, I'm like, Monique, you've really got to change your viewpoint on this because it's not accurate. You are
Yeah.
looking at this from a perspective of how you grew up, but life has changed. And don't be foolish enough to get left behind in the respect of, this is not something that these kids can just turn off. And I will say, to build on that, this is where I think social media has become more negative, is because you have parents that don't know how to turn it off in their world. And so therefore they don't know how to teach their children how to not
Mm,
turn off, but create boundaries. That's the word I'm looking for.
absolutely.
Because that is the other side of this, that I think our kids are being bullied because it's boundless with the
Mm,
access that they have to it.
yeah.
And when I know elementary age children who have cell phones, and you are giving your child essentially a door that opens up and gives them access to the world and the world access to them
Mm,
without the maturity that they need to access the world. You would never give your child that is of a certain age keys to a car and tell them go drive to the store or go drive,
mm-mm.
or give them, that kind of access, because you go, that's crazy. But as a law enforcement officer, I have worked numerous cases where kids who have had access to the world that lacked the maturity and the mental growth
Mhm.
to have that access have gotten themselves into situations. And that goes even with, when they'll say, well, I only give them access to kid games. There are adults, guys, in these kid games that are doing nothing but targeting your children. And when these little souls get targeted, they are going to always be outplayed and outmanipulated by an adult who will tell them things like, meet me here, go there, and give them step by step instructions on how to get out of your house and meet this grown person
Mhm.
to do God knows what. So we have to be very careful with giving them that access. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, it's two situations that come to mind that has I've heard about, And one of them was, this teenager, she was not engaging in social media at all. She witnessed a
Okay.
crime.
Okay.
And immediately after, literally immediately after, the police come up and said, "Hey, did you see this crime?" And she was like, "Yeah, they went that way." That's all she said, right? And she started to get threats through social media that she wasn't even aware of, because she wasn't really an active on social media, but she was getting threats because she pointed, and these were real world dangerous threats. So social media, its tendrils can lift everywhere, but these threats went on social media, and she was informed by friends and family and police that, hey, you need to, because you witnessed this crime and they did this.
Right.
Another thing was, like, a fifth grade young girl was in school, well, in a program that was an extended day program, that was really, really good program. Thank goodness that this particular teacher walks around and checks what they're doing on social media. And she ended up seeing her and looking at messages, and literally took the picture immediately, because she's like, no one's going to believe me. And someone was saying very vulgar and nasty things to this fifth grade young girl, and telling her to do
Right.
these disgusting things. So it's a scary place, and it's a
It
scary
is.
thing for a parent and for people who deal with children in any capacity, because it's almost worse than the white van. It's worse than the,
Yeah.
can you help me find my
Yes.
puppy? Can you help me get candy? Because they literally can get into the minds of these kids. So it's very scary in that aspect. I'm
And they
sorry,
can
I'm
come in
taking.
your home.
Yeah,
No, you're right. They come
yeah,
into your home, you know? It's just crazy. I mean, it it's one of those things where, like, I think this is the part of social media that people really get onto, because the fallout from them is devastating if social media is left unchecked. But that's where we can't teach our kids to never use social media. I don't think that is a good avenue, because
yeah,
it is intertwined in their life. But what we have to teach them is, this is how you can use it safely. These are the boundaries. These are the things that can occur. And there's nothing wrong with parents taking it away from them at certain periods. Like, my son does not have a phone, because he doesn't need one, in my opinion, at this age, because he's nowhere at a time without it being with an adult that I
amen.
can call and say, put him on the phone.
Yeah,
But when he does come to that age, I'm still, even if he's 15, 16 years old, a 15 or 16-year-old does not need his phone in his bedroom with him at night. There is nothing good happening at that point. It's no different than what mom used to say to us when we were like, listen, after a certain time, ain't nothing open but legs and motels.
hey,
So,
amen.
and it's the same thing on phones and social media after a
Yeah,
certain time. Ain't nothing open or going on good at that point.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
um, I want to end this segment because I know that there's still a lot that we could talk about. And I really want to probably circle back and do some, like,
yeah,
full episodes to talk about, like, kids and social media,
yeah,
and do some full episodes and talk about social media versus real life, because I think that is a completely blurred line that we didn't really touch on.
yeah.
But I want to just rapid fire a couple questions, and I want just first response answers from you.
Okay,
So, you ready?
I'm ready.
Most overrated social media platform. Go.
Facebook,
Platform that you could quit tomorrow.
Twitter, I barely have it, or X, whatever it is.
One account everybody should follow.
I'm trying to have a conversation with you podcast on TikTok
Yes!
and
I thought
IG.
you was going. Yes! Um, One social media platform that everyone should have.
That's hard. It's like your
I know one.
personality. Yeah.
Mm. Pinterest, everybody should have it.
Pinterest. You right. Everybody should have a Pinterest.
Boom!
Amen.
All right, last one. Worst trend you've ever seen online.
That dancing trend they used to do on TikTok drove me
Which
nuts.
one? All of them?
Like, just cut that shit out. I'm glad they outgrew that.
Oh my gosh! You said that
I hate a
dancing
Papa
trend.
Lock dance anyways. Don't get me started. I'm sorry. I don't like a Papa Lock dance. Dancing is
Oh
groovy. You know what
my
I'm saying? But you're
gosh.
now.
I love it. I love it. So I would like to put out something to our audience real quick. I would like if you can email us about a time that social media caused drama in your life or one of the craziest things you've seen on social media. If you want us to remain anonymous, just when you send us the information, just please put anonymous and we will leave out names and we'll leave out things like that to protect the guilty. But I'd love to know, like, because I think everybody's social media experience is different. So that's why I'd like to know. Tell me about a time that social media caused drama in your life or the craziest thing you have seen on social media.
I love that.
So,
Remember, at trying the number 2, have a convo at gmail.com. It's also on
yes.
TikTok. I'm trying the number 2, have a convo on TikTok. On IG, I'm trying the number 2, have a convo pod. So talk to us. Go ahead, though, Monique. I'm
I
sorry, I had
love
to
it.
insert
No,
that.
that's exactly what I was going to say. Throw it to
Oh,
you and tell you to plug them. You read my mind.
look at that.
I love it. So also keep listening to us on whatever podcast platform we are on. YouTube. That's probably the easiest platform to listen to us. Go to streettailsnetwork.com and that gives you access to our show and all of our podcasts because we have several others. And I think that's it.
Yep, that's it.
I think that I'm Monique and that's Kasha. And this conversation is over.
It's over.